If you want to go green, you first need to be conscious. So welcome to Conscious Lifestyles with Ginger Leilani Chapin.
Hey there, welcome to the show this week. I am so grateful and so happy to have Peter Bedard, someone I have respected, and you've been on my show many times before, from Create Your Health in LA. You've got to find him on createyourhealth.com. This coming new year and over the holidays, I want everyone to think about how they can improve their lives and the lives of their family members and those that they love by doing simple things to create a new lifestyle. It's a new year. Create a healthy lifestyle. Create your health. Thank you, Peter, for being on my show.
Thanks, Ginger. I'm so excited to be back with you. It's great.
Well,
happy holiday.
Happy holiday to you, too. You know, you're an amazing person. I go on and I watch your videos all the time on createyourhealth.com. And I saw you on one video where you were stripped down to your underwear. You were pretty much, you were naked, okay? And that was such a cool modality. Can you talk about that?
Sure. When you first said that to me, I got a little like, uh-oh, what?
Yeah, you were pretty, you were looking hot. I mean, you were naked.
Well, thank you.
But you know, that's the thing is that you on his videos, everyone for the benefit of my audience, on createyourhealth.com, you are such a wonderful advocate for natural healing. You actually show people through different videos and different practitioners, natural healing practitioners, different ways of healing your body naturally. And this was one of many videos that you have. And that's what I love about you. You're one of the few people out there who actually participates as not only the talk show host, but you're actually doing it on your own body. Yeah. And you are living proof of natural healing and how it heals your life. So talk about this one modality. I was so interested in it.
Okay, sure. And you know, when I had no idea what to expect, because a lot of times when I book people for the filming, I do a little bit of research, but I don't want to know too much because I want it to be spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what they're going to do, like the basics about what they do and how it works. But I had no idea that I was going to be getting naked. So
in front of the camera, no less, right?
Yeah, in front of the camera. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, what was this modality called? It was so cool.
So it's very interesting. It's called Mayan abdominal massage, and it was passed down. So the woman that did it with me was third generation of this healing modality. So there was an actual Mayan. Actually, she said second generation. So there was a Mayan chief, a shaman, who actually had created and this modality. I don't think he'd created it. I think it had been passed down through his people for many, many generations, and he started to formalize it a little bit more and had taken on someone who was outside of the tribe and taught this woman how to do this particular process. And then this woman taught the woman that I worked with. And it's called Mayan abdominal massage, and it's really, really amazing. I was so interested in it because I had done something on my own that was just sort of instinctual and very similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a hernia that I forget what they call it, what the technical word is, but basically the hernia would come in and out of my body. It would protrude and then come back in. And I could even like push it back in. And the doctors told me I would have to have surgery and I would have to have that repaired and that there was no way and that the scar tissue had already set and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't want to go under the knife again. I didn't want to do another surgery, but this was obviously painful, and it was messing with my digestive system and all kinds of stuff. And so I dug into it. I literally would take like my fist, or I would take softballs or baseballs or whatever it was, and I would dig into my body in that area where the hernia was, right in my pelvic area,
mm-hmm.
and it would hurt. And I would lay on pillows and I would do all kinds of stuff, but I was actually able to break down all of the scar tissue and retrain my body in a way, and the hernia healed itself. And so I thought, wow, if I could do that, I bet there's stuff out there that's really about formally doing that. You know, I had no idea if I was doing it right or if I was going to hurt myself or what, but
mm-hmm.
I just did it. And when I discovered the Mayan abdominal massage, I was like, okay, that's it. That's what I was attempting to do on my own, and they do it obviously much better. So it's a form of massage that's all about the belly. It's for men and women, men and women. But the idea is that the Mayan, the shaman's idea was the health of the womb is the health of the tribe. And so if the womb is healthy, the tribe is healthy. And so this massage was really created for taking care of all of the digestive system. So all of that middle part of us. And they do a massage throughout the belly. It starts from the belly button and then radiates out. And it's about a circular form of movement. And it's really, really amazing. And then after I discovered that, I also discovered that there's a sort of a Chinese version of it. And it's called Niche Sing. And there's a wonderful woman named Washali who lives out in Florida, so closer to you, on your side of the coast. And Washali does this type of massage as well. And Washali was able to help herself heal from, major cancers and stuff like that using this gut type of massage. And the idea is if that our gut is healthy, then our body can fight off lots of different conditions, lots of different health conditions. And I had evidence of it with the hernia where I was able to eliminate my pain and take care of my gut issues. And so when I filmed it, the filming that we do always involves sort of two parts. The first part is what is it and how does it work? And the second part is a demonstration. So after that first part of sitting down with the practitioner, the therapist, and talking about what it is that she does, then it was like, okay, let's go do it. And she says, great, take off your clothes.
I know, I saw that. But it was so cute, though, because what she's doing is she's taking away the layers, literally. And oftentimes clothes are toxic, too, because people have started to wear synthetic clothing. So I can understand the thinking behind that, to get you, to get to get her hands directly onto your skin, right?
Yeah, on my belly, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I stripped down to my skivvies, and she put me on her table, and she teaches you how to do this type of massage work, and it's really, really amazing. It's really amazing, and it's Mayan abdominal massage. So if you go to createyourhealth.com/Mayan, you'll actually find the video. But it was such a wonderful healing experience, and it's something I actually do even to this day. If I wake up in the morning and my stomach's a little upset, or if I'm noticing, especially I'm noticing if my back is hurting, my lower back. Mm-hmm. I had a situation where the doctors wanted to do surgery on me because I had severe sciatica, and they couldn't figure out why the sciatica was there, but they were going to go in and do surgery on me anyway. Mm. And I discovered that the sciatica pain that was there, that was shooting down my legs and made my pelvic region numb, the pain was actually coming from my psoas muscle. And the psoas is a muscle that sort of goes from your abdominal front area, and it's like a bunch of fingers. It reaches all the way through your back and attaches to around your coccyx and your pelvic bones. And so my psoas was doing so much work in supporting my body, and it was so tight, and it's a deep muscle, it's deep inside. And it was so tight that it was pulling my lower back out of alignment, which was causing the sciatica. So it had nothing to do with my back, yet that's where all the pain was. Mm. And so that abdominal work of digging into that abdominal area for me has been super powerful. It's helped me get rid of my hernia. It's helped me with any kind of sciatic issues. It's helped me with my lower back pain and hip, like hip area, if your hips lock up and stuff like that. So it's a really powerful type of movement and massage.
Well, what's so cool is that you said she teaches you how to do this on yourself, so you don't have to keep going back, and if you're traveling, which I know you travel a lot, and people who are listening who travel a lot, you can learn to do this for yourself. And that's what I love about natural healing modalities. You learn how to apply these things in your lifestyle. It becomes a whole new lifestyle, and you learn how to be with your own two hands and your own spirit, become your own healer, right?
Absolutely. That's sort of my big mantra that I take on in my own private practice. When I work with people, I'm a real big stickler for making sure that people know how to do this work on their own. As a therapist, it's important to me because it just drives me crazy when people say things. You hear this all the time. They say things like, Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. I'll have to talk to my shrink.
Mm-hmm. Right. Who doesn't know anything about natural healing, herbs, vitamins, minerals, nutrition, right?
Exactly. And if you're dependent upon your shrink to know how you feel about something, that is not a good therapist.
Right.
That's not a good therapist at all.
It's not a good sign, yeah.
No. I mean, they should be teaching you how to, learn how to take care of yourself and how to be better in administering to listening to yourself.
Yeah, I had a show on that a few months ago on how many of these psychiatrists and psychologists are trained now to just give drugs that actually exacerbates the problem, and it does not make the person independent and learning how to live life joyfully and honorably and truthfully, healthily. We've got to go to a break. Everyone, we're talking with Peter Bedard. Check out createyourhealth.com. We'll be right back. Hey there, welcome back to the show. This is Ginger Leilani Chapin. You're listening to Conscious Lifestyles radio show. Today I have Peter Bedard as my guest. You've got to find him on createyourhealth.com. You can also find him on convergencehealing.com. And you just opened up a tea house in Los Angeles. You're a very busy person. And you have an acting and a dance background. You were, when I had you on my show a couple years ago, you, just to give people an idea, you were seriously injured in a motorcycle accident, and you found your way to natural healing because of that horrible challenge. I'll call it a challenge, but that terrible accident that nearly took your life.
Yep. It actually did take my life, and that's the fun thing.
Yeah, and so that's what I want you. You're so inspiring just in your own life and how you've turned that around to helping other people, not only through your videos and through your outreach in the media, but you also work with people through you are working therapeutically with people through Convergence Healing. What is Convergence Healing?
So this all goes back to a time that was many years ago where I was slammed into the back of a semi-truck. I was on a quiet suburban road coming home from a show. Like you said, I was an actor. I was much younger. And somebody came up behind me on this deserted road and decided to mess with me, and they pushed my bike into a parked semi-truck on the side of the road. And I slammed into that semi-truck, and I died. And I shattered 5 vertebrae. I shattered my left knee. I split my right wrist open. I lost all the nerves in my hand. We found out later that I had brain damage, but I actually had a near-death experience, and I died, and I left my body actually even before the impact happened. The person hit my back tire, and I jumped out of my body, and my body slammed into the semi-truck, and I got to watch the whole thing. It was a very interesting process. And I saw myself laying in the middle of the street, and eventually I sort of floated over myself, and I could see from a point of view of being above even the semi-truck, so being sort of up in the tree line.
Wow.
And then the next thing I remember, I went down the tunnel and did all that kind of stuff.
I hope you were going to heaven, right? Because if you go to heaven, the tunnel is peaceful. If you go to heaven, the tunnel is peaceful. Oh,
it was amazing. Whatever it was, wherever I was, I don't know if it was heaven or whatever it's called, but it was amazing. Dying is wonderful. I highly recommend it. It's one of the best things that have ever happened. So if anybody
It changed your life.
Yeah. It absolutely changed my life. And if there's anybody listening that has a fear of death, I'm really speaking to them directly right now and saying there's nothing to be afraid of. It truly is one of the most amazing experiences you will ever have. The colors, the sound, the peacefulness, the surrender, it was the most amazing. It is literally undescribable. I can try and tell you how amazing it was, how wonderful it was, how blissful it was, and the words would still never even compare to the actual experience.
Wow.
The actual experience of death was just a brilliant, happy, joyous, amazing, as I keep saying amazing, it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. So if there is anybody that is really listening and there's a lot of people that tend to have a fear of that process that we're all going to eventually go through.
Yes.
It is just something truly a gift. I highly recommend it. Not that I think anybody should leave before their time,
right.
But when your time is up, know that you're going to be so well taken care of.
And you know what's so interesting about that testimony you just gave is that it inspires you to live your best life and to fulfill your reason for being here. None of us were put here on this earth to kill, destroy, hurt, lie, cheat each other. None of us were put on this earth to do that. And I'm sure you had that awakening, you know, when you came back into your body at some point. You realized your life is a gift, and you're only here for a finite, we all have an expiration date. You're only here for a finite amount of time, however much time. Now, I'm a strong Christian. I strong believer in God and in heaven, you know, but God gave us this gift, each and every one of us, no matter what we look like, no matter what family we're born into, no matter what challenges God may have allowed to come into our lives. You were given a reason to be here, and I know that came over you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very interesting experience for me. I saw my body, and at the time I was a dancer. I was on my way to becoming a professional dancer, and that's how I knew how to exist in the world. It was how I knew how to express myself. And when I came back, I felt like I had lost my voice. And for me, it was an interesting experience because coming back wasn't a joyous experience. The death was the joy experience. Coming back to my body felt like God was punishing me. It felt like at the time, I had a difficult time fitting in my community and my family and my school, all of those types of things. In my work, it was just, I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere. And so when I was told that I had to come back, I took it as I wasn't acceptable for heaven.
Wow.
Heaven didn't want me. And so I spent many years being very angry with God, and I had to come to a sense of peace with that. And when I did come back, I came back to a body that was just shattered. You know, I had to learn how to walk again, and I had to learn all kinds of stuff. I had undiagnosed brain damage, so I was walking around in this fog for a good 15 years before I was able to sort of rewire or get my brain back into a frequency that was really coherent. And so I spent many, many years in a lot of chronic pain. I had fibromyalgia and arthritis and asthma and bronchitis, and like I said, I had to learn how to walk again, and I had bone-on-bone contact in my knee. I had depression and anxiety. I had severe allergies and all this kind of stuff, and I had to heal myself of all those things. And so that sort of brings me back to your question of what is this convergence healing? And one thing I discovered is that, and it was actually inspired by allopathic medicine, because although I don't agree with a lot of the treatments in allopathic medicine, I'm really a big fan of the diagnostic tools, and I've been looking at what they were doing, and say somebody with cancer or HIV, the trend at the time was, and still is, was to double up on different medications. So you've heard of the cocktail that they give people who are dealing with HIV, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
and I
it's
thought
terrible.
It's terrible, it's awful, but it's actually had a degree of success. And so people, they were giving multiple drugs in one form, like one or two pills, and people were having they were in a way, they were healing. They weren't completely healing, but they're getting better.
Well, it was suppressing. What drugs do is they suppress the symptoms. You're not really healing because all drugs hurt the liver. Well, they damage the liver permanently. But yeah, they were suppressing symptoms. I've had a show on this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was inspired by that idea of this coming together of creating this cocktail, and I thought, well, what if I did that holistically? What would that be like to create my own holistic cocktail? Because the drugs and surgery didn't work for me. You know, the surgery was fantastic for putting me back together, but when they kept wanting to do exploratory surgeries, or they kept wanting to do more and more cutting me open.
Okay, we got to go to a break. Can you hold that thought? We'll be right back.
Absolutely.
This is Conscious Lifestyles. Hey there, welcome back to Conscious Lifestyles Radio Show. This is Ginger Leilani Chapin. Today I'm talking with Peter Bedard. You're one of my favorite people. You are so inspiring. Everyone, get inspired this coming year. Start taking care of your health naturally. Go on to createyourhealth.com. You can see Peter get down into his little knickers. It's really cute and it's fun. And you get to see him do all these cool modalities on these wonderful videos that he makes. And you can also find him on convergencehealing.com, which is what we're talking about right now. So we had to go to a very quick break. I had to cut you off. You were talking about this cocktail of healing that you were starting to think about, right?
Exactly.
After you got injured.
Yeah, exactly. So I had spent so much time being sick, and I had nobody guiding me. At the time, this was several years ago, and holistic healing wasn't really available on the level that it is now. It hadn't been embraced as much as it is now. And so I rejected the whole drugs and surgery thing, but I didn't have nowhere to go, and I just started experimenting. And I figured out, well, what if I listen to that my own inner wisdom? And so the work I teach in the Convergence healing process is about tuning into our inner wisdom. I'll ask people to have conversations with something like a tumor or an anxiety condition or a chronic pain or whatever it is. And we'll look at making that part of us, and let's say the tumor example, we'll make that tumor our best friend. So instead of having the energy of I'm angry with it, I'm ashamed of it, I want to cut it away, I want to throw it away, I want to kick it to the curb, what if I loved it? It's part of me. What if I loved it enough to have a relationship with it and ask it what it needs to heal? And that's really tuning into the inner wisdom of the body and the self, the highest self. And in doing that, we create a process for healing that's a body, mind, spirit process. But it's this convergence coming together of these different body, mind, spirit modalities. So for me, when it came to, let's say, my fibromyalgia, I would start having these conversations with myself. What did my body need in order to heal on a body level, on a mind level, and on a spirit level? What did I need? And one of the things that I was guided to was sound therapy, and it was indigenous sound therapy. And so I went and tried it out. And it started to work. It was, in fact, the first time I experienced the sound therapy, I actually slept, and I hadn't really, truly, deeply slept and really rested at that point in a good 10 years. And this person is banging gongs and bells and all, rattling things and stuff like that. And you would think that I would be wide awake and annoyed by all this, cacophony of sound, and instead I just passed out. It was amazing. And so I started to find things. So on the body level, I did sound therapy and I did colonics because my body was just toxic and I needed to flush it out.
Yeah.
And it really works. And then I added on a mind level, I kept thinking of myself as being sick. So I would make excuses. I wouldn't go places. I wouldn't do things because I was afraid if I was sick or if I didn't have the energy. And I had to challenge that programming. And so I started doing mindfulness meditation, and I started doing hypnosis type of work to really challenge neurolinguistic programming. What is my thinking? How am I thinking? And how is my thinking affecting my form? And then I had to find a spiritual realm. And the spiritual realm, interesting enough for me, was going out into my garden and pulling weeds. That was the request from this part of me that was in disease. I had to go out and get my hands dirty and dig my hands into the earth and pull weeds and prune my garden and just be outside. That was a big deal. And when I layered those things and I started doing them all together, and eventually I would add things to it too. So there were many things that I was doing. And that whole layering, this sort of recipe or cocktail of different treatments, all really blended together, and I got healthy. And so now whenever I have a situation that comes up, no matter what it is, I'm always looking for that recipe of wellness.
I am
I'm always
too.
looking for that.
Yeah, and you
really
start that starts to become a lifestyle. You start to do research. I love to read. I am a big reader. I love to research. That's what I do.
Well, cool. I should send you my book.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, is that you start to become like an investigator, and you start to open up to yourself ancient healing methods that are incredible, that have been lost and even suppressed by the allopathic system, which wants to keep you on drugs and do surgeries. You know, you were talking earlier in the show about, you know, you had several people want to do different surgeries on you at different times. Had you succumbed to those surgeries, that's a very toxic thing for your body to go through. I don't know if you would have been able to heal as much as you have.
No. I actually truly believe that if I would have taken the drugs that I was given, and if I would have bought into that thinking that other people need to heal me,
right,
and I would have done those surgeries and put all that stuff into my body, all of the anesthesia and all that stuff in my body, I really truly believe I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be able to share this message because I would have been poisoning myself. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I really would have found healing because, you know, not all surgeries are bad. I'm not saying that. Not all surgeries, not all drugs, from my perspective, are bad. Sometimes, like when my leg was shattered, I needed help putting it back together.
Yeah, that's emergency surgery. That's very different. Yeah, I mean they're very good at that. I mean that technology actually came out of warfare, came out of Germany. It was actually really the Nazis who perfected putting people's bodies back together, ironically. So yeah, I mean that's emergency surgery. That's completely different. We're talking about elective surgeries where there's a big question mark as to whether or not that's going to help you, but you're led down a garden path believing, or they want you to believe, that, this expensive, invasive surgery, very toxic on your body, hard on your body surgery is somehow you're handing your body and your life and your livelihood over to someone else who stands to make a lot of money off of that. You got to start to ask questions, and I think that's what helped you. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. I had to start asking lots of questions. And I had people in my life, like my parents, who had been in pain for their entire lives. And they had done the allopathic thing, and their health just kept deteriorating and deteriorating and deteriorating. Mm-hmm. And I thought, why would I want to go down that path? And I see that with people that I know as well, that I'm friends with, who choose to do that life. And they're always going to the doctors, and there's always something getting worse.
Yeah.
They're managing something, and then something else kicks in, and they get more and more sick. Whereas I've done the opposite. I was really, really sick, and I've gotten better and better and better. Mm-hmm. And so just as a little side note, too, I had my leg shattered, and the doctors always were wanting to do surgeries that they call cleanup surgeries, which means that there's a little bit of cartilage that's left in my knee. I had barely any left, but a little piece that's still in there. And, we need to take that out, too. Mm. And that didn't work for me, so I grew all my cartilage back, something that my surgeons told me was absolutely impossible and I could never do.
Wow, that's amazing. How did you do that? What were there just a series of modalities, and certainly nutrition became a big part of your life?
Absolutely. The sugar issue, taking the sugar out of your diet. Mm-hmm. But funny enough, now I love this, Ginger. Funny enough, injecting sugar into my body is what helped me grow all of my cartilage back.
There's a name for that modality, right?
Prolotherapy.
Right, prolotherapy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And you have to catch it. You said this on a few years ago on my show. You have to catch it soon enough in order for it to work, right?
Yeah. If you're if you've had so much degeneration, like you're in the 80-90 percentile of degeneration, then it's probably not going to work. But if you're only in the 50-60 percentile, which is when they do most surgeries, then you're still a category for the prolotherapy.
So rather than having them take out the rest of the cartilage that you had left, you said, hang on a second, let me go find something that might work. And that's when you found, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a second. I said no for years until I found something.
Wow.
I didn't do I'll give it 6 months or I'll give it a year. No, I struggled through it and had pain for a long time. Because once again, the resources that are out today are amazing.
Yeah.
The stuff you can find, it's just absolutely incredible. And the interesting thing, too, is how many Western allopathic doctors are now starting to turn to holistic therapies because they're frustrated. The doctor that I worked with for the prolotherapy is a Western allopathic doctor who works at UCLA. And he's frustrated he can't help his clients heal. Something, I looked up a little something before the show because you had mentioned something to me about dementia. And I remembered reading an article about dementia and what to do with it and what possible things you can do. And I didn't have a lot of time to look it up because it was just before the show. But I found the article, and it was actually an article that was of a bunch of studies, a meta-study that was done, and it was written about with Dr. Mercola. I'm sure you know who he is.
Yes, Dr. Joseph Mercola.
Yeah, amazing guy. And he has, if you go to his site, he talks a lot about curcumin, which is an ingredient in turmeric. And turmeric and coconut oil are two things that are showing in actual allopathic Western medicine studies as to helping people alleviate dementia.
All right, stop right there. We've got to go to a break. This is very important for everyone to listen to. Check out createyourhealth.com. We will be right back. You're listening to Conscious Lifestyles. Hey there, welcome back to Conscious Lifestyles. This is Ginger Leilani Chapin. I am talking today with Peter Bedard. You've got to check out createyourhealth.com as well as convergencehealing.com. Please take control of your health naturally. When you heal your body, you heal your mind. There's a lot of people who, like we were talking about before the break, they're suffering from dementia, especially when they get older. Dementia is just the outcome of a very toxic body over a long period of time. And you've denied yourself of oxygen through your lifestyle choices and your bad food choices. And ultimately, as you get older, that's why people get sicker and sicker. It's the result of toxicity that's built up. So go ahead. You were talking about Dr. Joseph Mercola. Mercola is Mercola. Check out his website. I think it's mercola.com, right?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
So you were talking
about
how...
great resource.
Yeah, he's fabulous. Turmeric and coconut oil.
Turmeric and coconut oil, yeah. And I've actually introduced coconut oil. I used to use a lot of olive oil, and I actually introduced coconut oil into my diet. And with my healing store that I have now, because I've just, as I evolve and learn, and I'm not an herbalist, I'm just a guy who had to heal himself. And so I just started learning how to do it. And I used myself in order to make that happen. I used my conditions, my problems, in order to make it happen. And that's why when I look back at my conditions that I've gone through, I feel very blessed for them. I'm very grateful for the man that killed me. I'm very grateful for the arthritis and the asthma and all of the things that I had because they have just given me such a big life. And if I didn't have those things, I probably wouldn't have been motivated to do the research to figure things out.
That's an amazing story. I mean, I always get so inspired when I listen to you because so many of us get bogged down in the daily routines and, with the little things that happen along the way, frustrating people who are not evolved, people who are very toxic. That's another point I wanted to make. When you come across mean-spirited, toxic, dishonest people, and the list can go on and how you can describe those people, I start to feel sorry for them because I used to get angry, but now I feel sorry for them because I know they are physically toxic. Their bodies and their intestines are so clogged with toxicity, years and years and years of fungus overgrowing literally in their body. It has affected their brain. It has affected their behavior, their mood, and their spirit entirely. We have a lot of people who are crazy in this country and around the world, and it's not so funny when you're a victim of some of those people. And you realize when you look at all of the processed foods, the sugary, highly toxic, drinks that are out there that are pre-prepared, people buy. They don't think about looking at labels. Do you ever stop and think about, this is incredible to me how the nutritional values have gone so downward in a spiral that goes way beyond anything that I could imagine with this processed, genetically modified foods, high processed sugar foods, high fructose corn syrup. And then you look at the graph and you see how the nutritional content affects the behavior of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And how when you look at that same graph, there's there's almost an opposite mirroring of as the toxicity in our food goes up, so does all the disease.
Yes.
So health goes down and disease goes up.
Right. So coming into the new year, you have top 10 things to do in the new year. And the number 10 will go backwards, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Number 10 was take a sound bath. What does that mean?
Yeah. So sound is so powerful. How I first started to understand it was when I had my fibromyalgia and I was trying to figure that out. And like the story I said earlier about going into the indigenous sound therapy. So sound baths are really interesting. If you can imagine being in a movie theater and maybe you're watching a sci-fi and the spaceship takes off and the theater rumbles and the speakers and everything, it's really loud and you feel that sound inside your body. And so a sound bath is really about directing sound into the body. And the science behind that is that the body vibrates. All those cells, all those things that are moving around and make us, the fibers, the tissues, the molecules, all of them are moving. And that movement is a vibration, and the vibration is a sound. And so when you introduce healthy sounds into the body, whether it's binaural beats, or whether it's through a form of sound therapy that's called a sound bath, then it helps the body heal. And so let's say a tumor has a particular frequency. If you bring a frequency that's the opposite frequency into that tumor, we're actually discovering that the tumor is shrinking. And so there's a lot of really cool things you do. And sound baths are really fun because it's getting really popular out here on the West Coast. I'm not sure what's happening over on your side of the world. But when you go, you could go to a sound bath, and it's just like a big empty room, like a yoga room or a meditation room or something like that. And they bring gongs. So they have these wonderful, beautiful metal gongs and bowls, singing bowls and stuff like that. And they bang on the gongs, and you feel these waves of sound just going deep inside your body. It is so restful and so just amazing. And I think that's part of the indigenous traditional in Australia, too, with the didgeridoo, where the sounds of that wong, that kind of sound, it goes into the body. You feel it. And so a sound bath is incredibly refreshing. It's this really enlivening type of process. And if you haven't experienced it before, go for it. And then I thought number 9, well, what is something else that I would encourage people to do?
We've got a minute and a half left. Let's quick
All right, I'll
go
go
through.
really quick.
Yeah.
Meditate on a mountain. Get up high. Get up high where you get perspective and just view the world from that place. Breath of fire, number 8. Breathe rapidly. Oxygenate your body. Highly oxygenate your brain. Take in the waters. Go get a really amazing mineral bath somewhere. Be creative, number 6. Be creative. Number 5, walk your neighborhood. See people. Get to know people. Know where you live, who you are, and connect with your community. And that brings us to number 4, which is really about making eye contact. We walk around so disconnected. Look into people's eyes. Truly see people. When you see people, it's like you feel appreciated and you feel recognized. And that's a quality missing from our life. And then, of course, learn and read, expand your world just like you do all the time with your reading. Get some good sleep, number 2. And number 1 is practice gratitude. Be thankful for even the things that appear to be as a problem, such as my dying or my diseases that I had to heal. Be thankful for your fat. Be thankful for all of those things, because when you're thankful for them and when you take that energy of gratitude to them, then you can heal them, because you're not fighting them and having an animosity-like relationship anymore. And it creates a sense of peace and wellness, and then you can let go of whatever is creating that problem.
Thank you. I thank you, Peter Bedard. Everyone, check out createyourhealth.com. Have a happy Christmas and happy New Year.